What's going on, guys? Mike with Iceberg Gaming here. Today we are checking out HumanitZ by Freedom Games. This game came out on September 18th of 2023. The developers sent me over a key, and unfortunately I did not have time to play it. I had just recently had surgery, and this is the first time I'm getting a chance to review it. So this is my review for HumanitZ. HumanitZ is a co-op isometric open-world survival game in a world ended by the zombie outbreak. As one of the few human survivors, try to last as long as humanly possible. The past can't be changed, but you can make a difference today for the future of humanity. Now this is going to be pretty familiar to players of Project Zomboid. It's got the same isometric view, however you can also rotate the camera, and you don't have to hold down the mouse button to stay in combat stance. You actually don't even need to be in combat stance at all. You can just swing your weapon. The combat is a little bit clunky. Sometimes the zombies will like randomly do like a little lunge at you and you'll take damage. But other than that, if you played Project Zomboid, you should find it pretty familiar. The main differences are it's a little more 3D. It both looks better and looks worse in my opinion. You can't zoom out, but you can rotate the camera. So I don't know, the rotating camera doesn't really work for me. I would like to be able to zoom out farther than you can, or maybe like zoom down in so that you can look ahead of you. That would be better for the rotating camera, in my opinion. If you could like zoom in to get your character's perspective a little bit, like maybe third person instead of isometric, and then rotate the camera around to look. But as it is, you can't really see that far. It's kind of the same distance, almost the same distance as Project Zomboid. I think it's a little less, but at least in Project Zomboid you can look to the edge of the screen a little bit. Here you can see I'm fighting multiple zombies, and they mostly get stunned when you hit them, but once in a while they will do this weird lunge and hit you like it just happened to me that I'm having a hard time predicting. I think maybe you just need to be more cautious than I'm being. Also, sometimes it's a little bit hard to tell when the zombies die. Like, they'll flop around a lot, whether they live or die. Sometimes they'll go flying randomly, which is kind of weird. The physics seems to need a little bit of work. And then sometimes they just keep twitching after death, so it's hard to tell if they're actually dead or not. But this game is in early access, and the developer seems to be putting out updates pretty regularly, like almost every week, I think it is. So it can only get better from here, and I think it will get better. It's a little rough right now, but there's a lot of room for improvement, and they seem to want to make the improvements. So that is definitely a positive sign in my opinion. The loot system is pretty easy to understand. You open things with the interact button, which is F. And then you can move things in and out of your inventory. Pretty standard, pretty usable, no complaints there. It can be a little finicky to loot what you want. Your character has to be facing it, so be careful with your mouse where it's pointing, otherwise you might have trouble looting things. One thing that I will give HumanitZ is that the gunplay does feel a little bit better than Project Zomboid's. It's in Project Zomboid, you really shouldn't use guns ever because you're really going to attract more attention than it's worth. But in HumanitZ, it also appears to attract zombie attention, but not nearly as bad. And it feels a little better. The aiming, I guess, I don't know. I just enjoyed the guns more in HumanitZ than I do in Project Zomboid. In Project Zomboid, the melee combat is better, but I'm going to give a slight edge for gunplay to HumanitZ. One thing I found pretty confusing was the respawning of the zombies. It seemed to be kind of random. Like, I cleared out this little house and I was going to claim it as my base, but then the next day the zombies were all back again. So I'm unclear how that works, if I did something wrong, or probably just need to play the game more and figure it out. There is an in-game tutorial that has pretty good information. It doesn't have everything you'd like, such as the respawns, etc., but it does have all the key bindings and everything. They call it the survival guide, and there's all kinds of information in here that you should definitely read before you play. And what would a survival game be without crafting and gathering resources? You can do quite a bit of crafting. I didn't get that far into the crafting because the place that I wanted to set up my base, the zombies respawned in. So that kind of threw me off a little bit, but got a pretty good build menu here. Things, it's free building. It doesn't really snap. It would be nice if it snapped, but free building is fine as long as you're careful with it. You also have your usual survival meters to manage. We've got our health, we've got hunger, thirst, and energy. The energy you use up if you're like sprinting or swinging your weapon. The food and water go down over time, and your health deteriorates if you get hit by a zombie. You can regain your health by using first aid. I think it goes up over time when you're eating as well, but I can't confirm that. I think that's what I noticed while I was playing. You can also sleep. I had a little bit of trouble figuring out how to sleep. I thought that I would just interact with the bed but go to sleep, but you have to hit Z to open your emote window, and then you can sleep. Sleeping seems to regenerate your health and your energy. Your hunger and thirst will still deteriorate while you're sleeping, however, but it's also good to keep you from having to wander around in the dark. This game gets very dark, so you probably you don't want to be wandering around at night because you won't be able to see anything. I think if you enjoy Project Zomboid, this one might be worth a try if you're kind of getting sick of Project Zomboid but want to play something similar. It does lack a lot of the depth of Project Zomboid. You can't do nearly as much as you can in Project Zomboid, but it has its moments as well. I would give it a cautious recommendation for a Zomboid player, especially given that it is still in early access and they are still putting out content updates pretty regularly, bug fixes almost every week, it seems. So I would say cautiously optimistic about this one. Maybe wait till it develops a little bit more if you don't like what you see so far. It's going to get better from here, I think. So props to the developers for continuing to work on it. I think I saw a demo for it like a year or so ago, and it looked pretty bad at that point. So it's definitely looking better than it did. I would like to see maybe the upstairs of houses instead of this barricade block off that you see in every single one with the trash bags and stuff there that prevent you from going upstairs. I think that's a little bit lazy, personally. I can kind of understand why they did it, and hopefully that's something they can take care of later in early access. For me personally, I'm going to stick with Project Zomboid over this, but I will keep an eye on it, and hopefully in the future it will surpass or at least get close to the level of Project Zomboid. So thank you so much to the developers for sending me over the review key, and I apologize that I was unable to get to this review sooner. Again, I had a pretty serious surgery back around then, so thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you're planning to play this game, if it looks good to you, and we will see you next time.